There's not one guy, one person in the history of this program that's bigger than the program.
What's better than this? Guys being dudes.
Ooh, what's up, and welcome into this post-game Program Guys podcast episode. My name is Mason Prince, joined with you as always, Ryan Tyson, Mark Hall, Matt Gann, Patrick Hertzberger. Today is Sunday, September 4th. Be sure to like and subscribe on our YouTube channel if you're watching us on YouTube right now, trying to get to 1,000 subs by the end of the year. Follow us on Twitter at Program Guys with a Z, Instagram, Program Guys with a Z, our Facebook page, Program Guys Podcast. You can listen to us however you get your podcast, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, wherever you find us, that's where we are. Boys, how we doing? The Sooners, we're wrapping up a Sooners victory, 1-0 on the young season, 1-0 in the Brent Venables era. OU beats Utep 45-13. Me, Ryan, Mark were at the game yesterday. Matt was in Norman. Patrick watched it from home in California, just for the fans to have context of what we saw yesterday. So I want to start, guys, with I think we're going to do offense defense. I think that's the way to keep this the most clean. And we'll start with our offensive thoughts overall. Mark, I know you rewatched the game, a good portion of the game, so we'll start with you. What'd you see from being at the game one and then rewatching it?
So it's good that you put it in that context because you see different things.
Yes.
Watching it in person, I expected a little bit more out of Dillon Gabriel than I felt like we, got. And then, just like missing passes. And then you look up at the scoreboard and he's 15-23 and he's got like 230 yards passing and it doesn't feel impressive. Well, watching it back last night, there's a deep ball on the first drive that gets, dropped. There's a deep ball to Jaleel Farouk on the second drive. He's between two dudes. Those plays are going to be there. There's a slant to Jaleel right in the red zone that just doesn't go.
Yeah.
Those plays are going to be there. I think that he showed a lot of poise in the pocket, a pocket that wasn't as there as I think we were all kind of hoping for. Mm-hmm. That's something that even on a rewatch is sticking out to me. They'll get those guys right. We're still not even sure that it's the right five yet.
Yeah.
But the Dillon Gabriel passing came out looking better, but the situation he's passing in, I'm not so sure about.
Yeah. Patrick, what'd you see, man?
Yeah, for me, I think the biggest highlight on the offense was Willis and his blocking ability. That was kind of an unknown for us if he's going to get better at that. And huge shout out to him getting better at that. And that Eric Gray run, that was like that 40-yard run, all Braden Willis blocking. So really happy to see that. And then, of course, this beautiful touchdown to end the half.
Yeah,
he looked like Jeremiah Hall.
Yeah, I got to eat crow today because I talked a lot of mess on Braden Willis in our preview show. And he came out in this first game and he proved that he can be that dude. I mean, 2 touchdowns, like Pat said, he was blocking downfield. Even the Gavin Freeman run, if rewatching it, the only person in frame is Gavin Freeman and Braden Willis blocking downfield. So you got to give credit where credit's due. Braden played great and showed why he's one of the captains of this team. Like you got to give credit to him. Matt, what'd you see, bud?
For me, and what I focused on last week, or not last week, but our preview pod, was the rushing attack and the offensive line. So I think that's what the main focus was that ground and pound. So when it comes to DG, we actually had a lot more rushing attempts than I thought we had comparison to attempts. I mean, Dillon Gabriel only had 23 attempts throughout the entirety of the day, where the OU rushing attack had over 38 attempts, 6.8 yards per rush, but we had over almost 260 yards rushing. And I was actually a little bit surprised. I know Marcus Major guy, but Eric Gray was the guy yesterday. He got the most carries. He was on the field the majority of the time. And I think Tyson had mentioned this earlier. I think it's just Eric Gray's to lose at this point. And again, I think we'll see more Marcus Major. But I think yesterday was just about the ground and pound and establishing the offensive line. I know they had a couple different combinations of the offensive linemen, especially with our left tackle being suspended for 2 games. So that's going to shift it up quite a bit. I was impressed that there were running lanes to open. And hopefully that's what they will continue to do. And that's what we've known from Jeff Levy, right? That's what they did at Ole Miss. They run a lot of different plays, but a lot of it is running. And I'm glad to see that we got up to over 250, which it didn't really feel like, but I'm really happy to see that.
Ryan, what about you?
Just
bud?
real fast.
Oh, go ahead,
Just
Matt.
real
Go ahead, Mark.
fast.
Yeah.
I knew this was coming.
Yeah.
Marcus Major scored 2 touchdowns yesterday.
He did.
Eric Gray got 2 carries at the goal line. First down, second down. Doesn't make any headway. They bring Marcus Major in. The guy gets north and south, and he gets into the end zone. That's a difference maker, and he was a difference maker yesterday. Eric Gray looked awesome. He looked smooth. He's definitely added enough weight to get rid of those ticky-tacky tackles, but, man, Marcus looked good too.
Yeah, he did. Marcus looked really good.
Maybe they're the 1-2 punch, right? Like Eric Gray is 20 to 20, but inside the red zone, maybe that's where Marcus Major, being that bowling ball kind of running back and can get north and south pretty quick, maybe that's where he comes in and plays.
Yeah,
Maybe
He
that's
also
what we'll
broke
see.
out for like a 40-yard run of his own too, so I don't know. Maybe he's just better.
We'll see.
Yeah. What about you, Ryan?
Yeah. I mean, you guys touched on pretty much everything. I just huge shout out to Braden Willis. I think he played great. Not just with the blocking, but he had 2 touchdown guys. Like his career, he's had 6 total touchdowns. He's now at 8. A fourth of those came from yesterday. So I mean, like,
Matched his touchdown total from last season.
yeah,
one
he's
game.
going to have a huge year, I think. And running game, incredible. I love the fact that, like, out of our total yards, we basically split between running and passing. It feels like a very balanced offense, which I love to see, especially the first game of the season. I thought DG was good. I didn't think he was great. I also think we as Sooners fans have a very, very high expectation of our quarterbacks, considering where we have been in the last 5 years. So 15 of 23, I thought he had some good passes, some really great passes, but then 3 to 4 that were just really inaccurate. And I know that he is known for his accuracy. So I'm hoping that's just first game jitters and he kind of gets more into that. Overall, really, really happy with the offense. I think they did a great job.
So what I saw in Dylan Gabriel is a guy who wanted to make the big play too many times. And I think what he needs to focus on is sometimes it doesn't have to be a 45-yard touchdown. Sometimes it doesn't have to be Marvin Mims or Jalil Farouk going deep. You can take the over-crossing routes and get 10 yards or get a first down. There was a distinct play in the second quarter that I just watched back where 3rd and 10, and he drops back to pass, and he's looking deep the entire time. But they're in man-to-man coverage, and you have a guy running across the field, I think it's Drake Stoops, who's in man-to-man coverage, and that dude can't hang with Drake. Drake's ahead of him. You throw it to Drake, it's a first down. We're still on the field. We're moving. So it's just stuff like that I think was first game jitters. Like, you're in Oklahoma, you're in Norman, 80,000+ people watching you. You want to show out, and I get it. But later on down the line, you got to take that play against Baylor. You got to take that play against Oklahoma State. Like, it's just stuff like that. Also, I was not prepared for the speed. I know we talked about how fast this offense is going to be. They had scoring drives of 1:17, 1:48, 30 seconds, and then 4 minutes, 1 second. You had a 1:51, a 2:40. It's crazy. They were so fast, especially to begin the game. I was not prepared because everybody always said how fast Jeff Levy's offense was. And I just seeing it in person, they were sprinting to the line. There was a play in the first quarter in the second or in the first drive where we get a first down. Drake Stoops catches a first down. They're immediately up to the line and a Utep guy gets injured. You can see both Marvin and Drake visibly like upset that they have to stop. It's crazy to see, like, because these players want to go fast and Levy wants to go fast. All right. Anybody else?
On the replay, it sticks out how much the defense is just not set. How much the defense is still trying to figure out what set they should be in, what play they're running when we're already snapping the football. Especially early in the game, I noticed it too, Mason. I think the defense kind of picked up on it, and the offense probably slowed down a little bit as the game went on. But, man, fast, and lots of plays. Like that 1:17 drive, it's not one deep play. I mean, there is one deep play in there, right?
Yeah.
But even if it wasn't, you're having like a 10-play drive in 2 minutes. That destroys the defense.
Oh yeah.
It's just it was definitely disruptive.
Especially when you're not substituting. Go ahead, Pat. Go ahead.
If we can consistently play like we played in those first 21 points, we're gonna have an incredible season. I mean, we were just so fast, so electric. I got up to get water and I missed like 4 plays. It was crazy how quick we were going. It was like, don't blink. Everyone started tweeting like, don't blink on Sooner offense. It was awesome. It was some of the most exciting football I've ever watched in those like 5 minutes.
I also to Matt's point, I love the run game. And to Ryan's, I think Ryan mentioned it as well. The run game, I thought Eric Gray looked fantastic. While I'm with Mark in buying the Marcus Major stock, you got to give credit.
Awesome.
You got to give credit where he's due, especially on the rewatch. His cuts were fantastic, finding holes that weren't there. I mean, he looked really, really good. And if he can continue that 1-2 punch of those guys is going to be great all year long.
I mean,
he has this kind of wiggle now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's fantastic if they are both playing well. We want them both to play well. So I am on this Marcus Major train, just like Mark is, but I also want Eric Gray to do well, right? Like what we saw yesterday. Eric Gray had 102 yards rushing and 33 yards receiving. Major had 54 yards and had those 2 touchdowns. So it's Marcus Major's coming in for the scores. Eric Gray is actually getting us down the field.
Yeah.
It's a balance, right? And I think Levy's doing that really well.
I'm not crazy. The thing that a negative for me was just the passing yardage. You'd like to see that higher just because you want a high flying offense. You know, you should be over 300 yards. Didn't have a receiver over 100 yards. Marvin had 81. So that was really good. Braden with 40, 28 of it came on that touchdown. So I just would have liked to see more. And that comes with Dylan completing more passes. Like I said, the easy passes add up. Go ahead, Mark.
I also think the deep passes do. If we hit one more of those deep balls, we're not worrying about our passing yardage. And that's what the offense wants to do, is push the ball downfield. So I think the shots are there and they're going to keep taking them. That's the offense. And that's Dylan's nature, is to keep taking them. I do agree that, hey, it's 3rd and 10. You've got Drake Stoops on a man beater. Just beat it. It's not that hard. But no, I agree. It'll be good to get a couple more passes, but I think the offense looked good and Dylan looked good.
Anybody else, anything to add on the offense before we move on to the defense?
I guess the negative thing about the offense is how quickly we are playing. And this is kind of a good transition into the defense and how that is impacting the defense. I think at one point in between like their field goal and their touchdown, they were on the field for like 13 minutes. Our defense, or our offense was on the field for like 1 minute of like 14 minutes straight. And that's because we are playing fast and we didn't convert any points during that drive too. But you can see how tough it's going to be on our defense playing 13 minutes at a time, basically. And this was against Utep, so I did not anticipate something like that happening.
Before we move on to the defense, Mark, did you have one more thing on the offense?
I just want to clear the chamber real fast. I have some notes.
Go. Yes.
All right, Gavin Freeman is giving freshman effort. Like, dudes don't do the stuff that he was doing unless they're 18 years old and feisty as hell.
Yeah.
Really love to see it. Braden Willis lined up in the backfield on multiple occasions. There was at least one play where he was the only person in the backfield. That is super cool play design, and I really like to see it. One more really cool bit of play design was the play action pass to Braden Willis with Marvin Mims coming and do the crackback block on the other side. That kind of stuff is going to kill a defense. Just throw it out there at the right time, and it's Braden Willis for 40 yards. I know that it is. Lastly, there were a handful of guys that just never saw the field that I think we were kind of expecting to. Jaden Gibson never played.
Yeah.
Nick Anderson never played. Daniel Parker never played. We were thinking all 3 of those guys might have a chance to hit the field, and surprisingly to me at least, none of them did.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised, even when they were in garbage time, when Davis Bevel came in at the end of the game, those guys weren't even in there. I thought that was kind of odd.
Hey, Mason, one more thing on the offense. I think a key point of like the offensive line, I thought they played okay. I thought it was good for them to be able to open up some of the rushing kind of holes for Gray and Major, but I would like to see better, better protection of Gabriel. He didn't really have, like Mark mentioned earlier, he didn't really have like a pocket to throw in, and he was pressured quite a bit. They were also, and I think Bill B is just like trying to understand which lineup is going to be the best for him, but they were switching around the offensive line multiple times. And that was something that, like, us at the game, we could see it, but like Mark, on your rewatch, I don't know if you saw like even more like how they were switching and how many times they were switching and stuff like that.
It's tough for me to notice unless I'm really paying attention. So that's not something I was zeroed in on, honestly.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Anything else?
Yeah, I was just going to give a little bit of pushback to what you said a little earlier, Mason. I mean, obviously, we would like to see more passing yards from DG, but I think really yesterday it was just about executing the offense, and we still almost had 500 yards of total offense. That's still pretty good, right? I think we'd obviously like to see more, but this is a brand new coaching staff, brand new offensive system. All I wanted to see yesterday was that we could execute the ground and pound and that DG can make some throws. And like Mark said, we're 1 or 2 throws away from DG easily being 300 yards or more and having multiple touchdowns. But there wasn't a lot of big flashy plays yesterday other than the Gavin Freeman run. And so, again, I just want to see good execution. I think we saw that. I think the numbers and stats will only get better, but I like the balance that we saw yesterday. But I'm more excited about really what I saw on the defensive side of the ball. So if we want to talk a little bit more about that, I think that's what we should definitely hit on.
We will. And before we do that, I want to give a shout out to David Preston. He's a loyal listener. He went up to me and Ryan at the game and recognized us from the pod and said he was a big fan. I just want to give David a shout out. Thanks so much for listening, David. And if you like the show, be sure to like and subscribe on this. It helps us out more than you know, trying to get to 1,000 subs by the end of the year. Thank you so much for coming up and saying hey David. And if you see us, guys, if you see us at Logie's pregame, or if you see us, in the stadium, say hello. We love you.
Please do.
Yeah, we love to say
be like program guy David.
Yeah, David's a program guy. Gotta love it, man. All right, let's go. Let's talk about the defense. Defense gives up just overall. Let me look at the stats real quick. So the defense overall gives up 316 yards of total offense, 13 points. I thought the defense looked really good. What I liked and what I didn't like, Reggie Grimes is a freak of nature. I freaking love Reggie Grimes so much. And that defensive line, Jeffrey Johnson, all those guys, Ethan Downs, they looked great. They looked really, really good. And they had pressure all game. Granted, it's a UTEP line that was probably overmatched from the jump, but they were constantly in the backfield, and it looked great. What I didn't like, I don't know who hired Mike Stoops back, but those defensive backs have to start playing closer. We gave up. I was watching the first half, and our corners were 8 yards off like 75% of the time. I understand you're playing zone and that they're probably dropping into a third coverage, but when your linebackers can't get to the flat and cover underneath like that, that's an easy 8 to 10 yard gain every single time. If you look at the drives, so Pat talked about the defense being gassed. We had a 15 play drive for a field goal, a 10 play drive for a touchdown, 7 plays, and then it was the end of the half. That's all for UTEP. Got to get off the field. And that comes with third downs and also comes with penalties. I feel like there were a lot of stupid penalties that didn't need to happen, and that gives first downs and keeps you on the field. A couple of those penalties were on third down, gives them a fresh set of downs, and they're still moving on. So that's just my little synopsis of what I saw without diving too deep into it. I want to let the guys get into it. Ryan, we'll start with you since we ended with you on offense.
Yeah, absolutely. So, guys, 6 sacks. Yeah. We are on target for my 50, baby. We're on target.
We are, Ryan. We are.
Love it.
We're on target. One game in. So 6 sacks. I thought the pressure, like you said, Mason, Grimes was unbelievable. 2.5 sacks. And that is the most since I think Isaiah Thomas last year against Baylor. He played fantastic. I also, another shout out to Danny Stutzman and Billy Bowman, playing incredible yesterday, both having 9 tackles, which is a career high for both of them.
Sorry
awesome.
to interrupt you, but Billy
Yeah.
Bowman, the secondary I was talking about who didn't perform well, Billy Bowman is not included in that. I thought Billy played great. I love
He is
the way
exempt from all criticism.
he is. All right, sorry, Ryan, go ahead.
No, it's okay. I mean, Bowman, we've talked a lot about Bowman on this and how, BV has given him so much praise. His career high tackles before yesterday was 5, and now he's at 9. And I just think he's ready for a big year. And I think all that talk that BV gave him did not get to his head, and he showed up for the first game. Now, will he keep showing up? I think so, but I guess we'll see.
He breaks on the ball so fast. Mm-hmm. A dude makes a break on his route, and Billy Bowman is there before the football is. Yeah, it is unbelievable, and he's so physical. He is just breaking dudes' bodies when he hits them. Mm-hmm. Sorry, I just wanted to get my Bowman shot.
Yeah.
No, absolutely, and I felt like Danny Stutzman was also amazing. Like, he was so
Danny
fast.
Stutzman should have had a pick. He should have had a pick.
Oh yeah, he should have had that pick.
Should have. I think my only negative with the defense is kind of what you talked about, Mason, and that's kind of the secondary. Playing off 5 to 10 yards the entire game, not great. But I also wonder how much of that was intentional with the score.
That's the plan.
Yeah. And I wonder how much of it. I don't truly believe this Brent Venables defense will do that if we were in a closer game. So I'm interested to see moving forward how we handle that. I loved our rushing defense. Thought it was fantastic. The line played great. We held them to, I don't know how many yards they actually had, but they really had like negative yards mostly through
28 rushing yards for the game
on 31 carries.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just like fantastic stuff from them. So yeah, I was really, really happy with defense. Thought they played great.
Matt.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to allude to, is the rushing defense and able to get pressure just with a 4-man front. So we didn't, BV has always been known for exotic blitzes. We definitely saw them yesterday, but the majority of the time we set back in zone and we were able to get pressure from guys like Reggie Grimes and those guys up front with 4 people. I think that was the most impressive thing I saw, let alone 31 attempts for only 28 yards. I mean, we were stuffing those gaps, right, all day long. Everyone knew what their alignment was, and we made it happen. The biggest thing I see, and I think it's what alludes to Patrick when I'm a little bit afraid of, is going to be time of possession. Time of possession was almost 40 minutes to UTEP, only 21 minutes to OU. And that's probably going to be how it's going to be all year, especially with the offense that we're running. So the defense is going to be gassed, but they're also going to have opportunities, more tackles, right? Because they're going to be on the field a lot more than the offense is going to be. But even the fact, third down efficiency for UTEP was 5 for 15. So they were definitely getting off the field when needed. But like you said, penalties, other things got in the way. The secondary, when you're on the field that long, you're going to give up yards. And again, I think it was a little bit intentional with the scoreboard. They were going in and out of kind of a little bit of a carousel in the secondary, just who's going to play. We saw Woody Washington, but like we alluded to before we talked or got on the pod, a lot of different cornerbacks came into the game to try out. And we're just going to have to, that's probably just going to be a continued theme for that group moving forward. But honestly, overall, that's why I'm a little bit worried too. It's just going to be time of possession, especially when we play the OSUs, the Baylors. I mean, that's a lot of time, 40 minutes on the field. That's a lot of time.
Yeah, I think the thing with the secondary that I was just most frustrated with, and I completely agree with you, Matt. It's by design. I understand. But why is Kendall Dennis and Trey Morrison on the field and Billy Bowman and Woody Washington are just don't see the field for a drive? It drives me nuts. Like, those are your guys.
It's game 1 against UTEP.
I don't care.
Those guys get to play because if something happens and you need Kendall Dennis to play, he needs game reps. That's why. And you're up 35 points against UTEP. It's so easy, obvious.
You're up 21-10 at that point. So play him in the second half, play him in the fourth quarter. Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, we're worried about UTEP, but then we're up 21-10.
No, we're not. I'm saying you're up 21-10. You want to get guys reps in the first half. You want to put Kendall Dennis and you want to put Trey Morrison in the game. 100%. I agree with you. They need reps. Put them in the second half. They don't need to be there in the first half.
I guess I'm just thinking it matters less against UTEP.
That's fine. I I can understand that, but we're both making the same point, but at different times. We both agree they need reps, but we're just disagreeing at the time they come in. But whatever, it doesn't matter.
Whatever.
Patrick, go ahead.
You guys captured a lot of it, but in general, the defense is bigger, faster, stronger, more punishing, more suffocating than I think we've seen. If there's like a half tackle on someone or someone doesn't tackle completely correctly right away, there's 3 or 4 Sooners on the ball right away. And that's not something that we saw last year. So I think we're suffocating and there's a lot of room to grow, but the potential is definitely there with this defense.
I thought there were missed tackles.
The lineup.
I thought there was I thought there were not a lot. I thought there were some missed tackles, but overall, I think the tackling has greatly improved. And that's something that they pointed out in camp and press conferences and all that stuff, but it's greatly improved and it's good to see.
They're swarming. They're swarming in ways that we only saw in spurts in the past.
Yeah. Mark, what'd you see?
Line of scrimmage, man. We were owning the line of scrimmage. There were multiple third downs, especially in the first half, where we had already pushed them back to 3rd and 14, 3rd and 16, 3rd and 17. And it just makes those third downs that much easier for your defense when you can put them in those kind of situations. I also think I'm more all right with our guys playing off a little bit when we're sending dudes on a blitz and the whole thing is just to get into passing lanes. I think we just need to see the defense a little bit more and kind of get a feel for, hey, is this by design? It seems like it to me, but I also agree that it was a little Mike Stoops-Bailery with the way the corners were lining up on receivers. I thought we'd see a little bit more Jaron Kanak at the cheetah position. So he came in with like 3 minutes left in the third quarter, and it seemed to me like he played exclusively at the mic. That's cool. I'm not into that, but it just wasn't really what I was expecting from him and his athleticism. He played every snap once he came in, though. I loved seeing it. He's a freak.
And the thing is, what he showed from 3 minutes in the third quarter and on is that he deserves to be on the field.
He killed their quarterback
so fast.
He's a freak of nature. Like he deserves to be on the field. You kind of have to. He made a strong case for himself to be like, hey, put me in at cheetah, put me in at Mike. I don't care. Put me on the field.
Now. Do it now. I'm here.
Yeah.
We're all here for that.
Yeah.
I also loved the blitzing, just sending guys. We wondered how much we would versus just sticking with the 4-man front, especially when we were getting pressure with that 4-man front. But I think stylistically, it is always good to be sending dudes. I love to see us throwing different looks at the offense, confusing the offensive line, and getting to the quarterback.
Anybody else on the defense? Anything that you saw that kind of stuck out to you? Love the intensity from Miguel Chavis and Brent, by the way. That's just a lot of fun to see. Guys are making sacks, coming off the field, getting Miguel Chavis is 20 yards out on the field to chest bump Reggie Grimes. That's just cool to see. It's just fun. Miguel Chavis is a certified psycho. I kind of love it. Certifiably insane. But the pass rush was great. I want to give credit to R. Mason Thomas, who had a pretty good game. He started off pretty strong. I loved what I saw from him. And obviously, Jaron Kanak coming in was probably the most exciting part of the second half for me. Just seeing Jaron come in and immediately make plays was fun to see. I think what we saw is this defense is going to rotate a lot, but not like Alex Grinch rotates. They rotate because they have the bodies and the talent to do so, not just to get guys rest. They rotate because they want to get guys on the field to make plays because they trust them, not because, we're trying to save Isaiah Thomas's legs. Perion Winfrey needs a breather. No, it's we think that these guys we think R. Mason Thomas can come in and blow up a play real quick. That's what I like to see the most. So I'm excited about that.
They've prepared the guys for it. I mean, we just talked about that time of possession, 38 minutes and 33 seconds for Utep. They knew that this was going to be the situation, and they got those guys ready. They got the depth pieces ready to come in and make plays. R. Mason Thomas is going to be making plays all season for us, and he's probably not going to start a single game. That's just going to be the way that rotation works.
Anybody else on the defense?
Yeah, just real quick. Mark talked about it. A lot of guys in the passing lanes, a lot of tipped balls, which I really, really like to see. Guys were getting hands in the air. Guys were in the proper positions. Again, they were on the field a long time yesterday. They're going to give up yards. That's going to happen. But really impressed just by the pressure, by the tipped balls. I think everyone executed what they needed to do. They're going to continue to rotate, especially in the secondary to find. But I think the front four definitely solidified a lot of positivity. Linebackers, I think Stutzman and David Awebu did what they needed to do. Secondary still got a little bit of what they need to find before they can be solidified as well.
Gotcha. That's going to do it. I want to, well, before we wrap up here, be sure to sign up. Well, I guess, can you still sign up for our pick'em page, Pat? I think you're done.
So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think we're done. I went 5-5 yesterday. Not a great weekend for your boy. 5-5 against the spread. Against the spread for me. I'm trying to get our. I'm trying to find our first place is Frat Loops 8-2. Do we know who that is?
Shit. Yeah, that's Colin.
Congrats
Colin.
Congrats to Colin Norberg. He's in first place, and also Toes is in first place as well with 97.5%. Both went 8-2. So credit to you guys for being first in the pick'em page. We'll update that as the season continues to move along. Be sure to like and subscribe on our Facebook or on
Who's Frat Loops?
I just didn't know. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Congrats, Colin. That's funny.
Man. I love it.
Anything else before we get out of here, guys? I was looking at the college football scoreboard. I mean, Ohio State beat Notre Dame. Alabama kicked the dog crap out of Utah State. Georgia absolutely mauled Oregon.
Georgia
looks the part.
Told you.
Yeah.
I was wrong on a lot of
did.
other stuff, but
Mark
told
did
you on
all
Georgia.
Yeah. I mean, they're to the point now where they don't rebuild, they just reload.
Also, Mason, do we need to give you space to talk about Utah and how you were right?
Bro, Utah frauds, capital F frauds. I don't want to hear jack crap about Utah until December. I'm done with people telling me that Pac-12 teams are any good. I'm done with it. Don't talk to me until December when they've won 10 meaningless games and they're 10-2 and they win the Pac-12 and we want to make the case that they need to make the playoff. BS. No, I'm over it.
Get out of here.
I'm over it. You lost to a not good Florida team. Florida's going to go 7-5 in the SEC. They're not very good, but you blew it. You blew it.
Mason only believes in the USC Trojans.
Only. Hey, they kicked the. I'm funny thing. Get out of here. Connor Borland, friend of the program, texted me last night.
Program guy,
and he goes. I need to stop hate watching SEC or hate watching USC stats. Like I don't need to check them after the game's over. It's not good for my mental health. So all of us in Sooner Nation, please don't go hate check USC stats. It does us no good. There's no point. We've moved on. Hey, just don't do it.
I needed this.
Anytime you're thinking about USC, just go watch an Oklahoma defensive highlight from yesterday.
Yeah.
That's what we should be focusing on.
Exactly.
Or go watch BV getting a game ball and getting emotional.
Oh, amazing.
And
my God.
That will just set you right.
It's amazing. By the way, the guy who at the end of the video yelled,
Braden.
"I will run for a brick wall for you" is Braden Willis.
Of course it is.
It is amazing.
Of course it is.
It's great. Love to
They
see
tweeted it out.
Yeah.
Owning the brand.
Yeah.
Like, that's me.
Yeah, that's me. All right.
You hear in the background. Follow my podcast, coach.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Yeah. Follow the podcast. Anybody, anything else before we get out of here? Okay. Be sure to like, subscribe on our YouTube channel. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at Program Guys with a Z, Instagram, Program Guys with a Z, Facebook page, Program Guys Podcast. However you get your podcast, that's where you can find us. We're going to have a new episode for you guys coming up on Thursday, previewing the Kent State game, as well as some of the NFL schedule. First week NFL next week. We'll talk some shop about that as well. It's football season, boys. Feeling good. Patrick, take us out.
Keep pushing it, baby.